Hello and welcome, everybody. My name is Lisa, and I am the Senior Learning Manager here at the Jewish Museum, London. So thank you so much for joining us for Wednesday Wisdom, our live object talk series. Now, the object I have selected today is one of over 40,000 objects in the Jewish Museum London's designated collection that showcases the diversity of Jewish life and history. Our programs exist to preserve the unique and diverse voices of Jewish communities and explore connections between faiths and cultures. So this month, July, our theme has been environment. And the photograph that I've selected today links to this theme in a couple of ways. So I'll just share my screen with you now. Lovely. So we can see here a black and white photograph of a young man sat outside on the grass under a tree using a typewriter. Now, this photograph, as I've mentioned, links to the environment in a couple of ways. Firstly, in the sense that, of course, this young man is sat outside in the photograph, typing away on his typewriter. So it really speaks about the ability to work in any environment. So actually being also in the outside environment, but also in another way. The story of this young man speaks about the changing environments as he came to England as a refugee from Germany just before the outbreak of the Second World War. Now, this is a photograph of Ken Ambrose, and he was born Kurt Abrahamson in Stettin, Germany in 1920. He lived in Stettin and grew up with his father, Arthur, his mother, Alice, and his sister, Ilsa. Now, when Ken, known back then as Kurt, grew up, his life slowly became restricted by the rise of Nazism. Hitler and the Nazi Party were elected to power in Germany in 1933 and began passing a series of laws, culminating in 1935, known as the Nuremberg Laws, which restricted the rights of German Jewish people. Now, some of these laws included things such as Jewish people were no longer allowed to use the trains and buses in the cities. Jewish people could no longer go to the cinema or sit on certain public benches in the parks. Jewish people were only allowed to shop for food during certain hours of the day. So lots of laws designed to restrict the lives of Jewish people and restrict their basic human rights. Jewish students were eventually removed from schools with non-Jewish children, and eventually Jewish people lost the right to vote and eventually lost their German citizenship. Now, the Abramson family soon realized that they were going to have to plan for a future outside Germany, as living in Germany was becoming increasingly more difficult for Jewish people. Now, Ken's uncle had business contacts in England, and Ken's uncle agreed to help him find the funds to attend school in England. Now, King's College in Taunton in Somerset was offering reduced fees to boys and young men who were victims of Nazi persecution. And Ken was lucky enough that his uncle was able to help him secure a place at King's College in Taunton. Now, on the 30th of January, 1936, Ken arrived in England alone, aged only 16. This particular photograph was taken at King's College in Taunton on the 6th of June, 1937, so just about a year and a half after Ken arrived in the UK. And in this photograph, we can see Ken working outside on his portable typewriter, which is also in the museum's collection. Ken brought this typewriter with him from Germany when he left in 1936. And the typewriter itself has black and red keys and also comes with an attached black carry case as well, so it's easily transportable. If we were to look at the reverse side of this photograph, unfortunately, I don't have an image of that, but there is some handwriting on the back, a short note which says, "The new typewriter in use." So this typewriter was obviously something that Ken was very proud to own and to use. We know that Ken used this typewriter to write letters home to his family, also for his schoolwork, and to carry out his duties as school prefect. He also used the typewriter to type notices for the common rooms at school to promote good behavior and tidiness among his fellow housemates. And by the time Ken left King's College in the summer of 1938, he was the school vice captain. Now, we have other items in the museum collection that Ken brought from Germany as well, including his Fuchtlander camera and a large suitcase. Both of these items were given to Ken as gifts for his bar mitzvah in 1932, the Jewish coming of age ceremony. Ken was very proud of his camera and took many photographs, such as this one, which I'll show you now, which depicts him and his sister Ilsa with some binoculars that he also got for a bar mitzvah gift, and a suitcase, a large suitcase, again, which was a bar mitzvah gift and is also in the museum collection. In this photograph, we can see Ken and Ilsa on the balcony at their home in Stettin, Germany, with his bar mitzvah gifts. Ken brought both the camera and the suitcase with him when he came to England as one of the 70,000 refugees from Nazism who came to Britain to make a new life. Now, I mentioned that Ken left King's College in the summer of 1938. Later on in that year, in November 1938, specifically on the 9th and 10th of November, we have the Night of Broken Glass, which occurred throughout Germany when Jewish shops were smashed and looted and synagogues burned to the ground and many men and boys were arrested. So after this moment, the situation for Jewish people, including the Abramsons family, declined really rapidly. And Ken's father, Arthur, was taken to a concentration camp at this time. Ken immediately started to go into action to help his family to leave Germany. And luckily, with the help of English friends who were able to act as guarantors for his parents and able to employ his sister Elsa as a domestic servant, the Abramson family was reunited in England in April 1939. Now, this story of the Abramsons family has a positive ending in the sense that Ken was lucky enough to be reunited with his family, which unfortunately was not the case for the majority of the Jewish refugees escaping Nazism at this time. Ken's story also demonstrates perhaps some of the lesser known ways that Jewish refugees were able to escape Nazi Germany, as many people might be familiar with the Kindertransport, but in Ken's instance, he was able to come over to attend a school that offered a reduction in fees for Jews escaping Nazi persecution, and also his sister, who managed to come over as a domestic servant, which was how around 20,000 Jewish women managed to escape escape from Nazi Germany. Now, we are really proud at the museum to have these objects in our collection and to be able to share them with you from wherever you are watching this object talk around the world today. It's really important to keep these stories alive and to continue to learn from the past and think about how we might be able to use what we learn to shape the world we live in today. So that's all for me today. I would just like to say thank you very much for joining me and for listening. And do join us next week on Wednesday, the 28th of July, for the next object talk in our series. Have a lovely day.